All right. What's going on, everybody? This is Tiger Wargle 14 with a very special Tiger Wargle 14 show. We're about to unveil, well, people are, the NCAA is about to unveil the official bracket. And Gonzaga will be the number one overall seed. They're already getting started. So go ahead and put down number one or one. Oh, right there. Go ahead and put this thing up on the screen. Here we are. I don't know if you guys can see that. If you can't, please let me know. And they'll take on Georgia State out of the Sun Belt. Gonzaga and Georgia State to kick things off. So what we're going to do is predict the bracket after all this unveiling is over with. So in the other bracket, further down the bracket, number 8 Boise State versus number 9 Memphis. UConn, will be a 5 seed. Of course, they beat Auburn earlier this year. It was on a Thanksgiving week type of game, though. And they'll battle New Mexico State. So, yeah, that team took Auburn down the wire a couple years ago when Auburn made that trip to the Final Four. Number 4 seed, Arkansas, will represent the SEC, 25-8. And battling them will be number 13, Vermont. I think a 13 seed's due for a win this year. I don't know if they'll be against Arkansas, but Vermont could have a chance. So number 6 seed in the West is Alabama. Honestly, I don't know what Alabama team we're going to see in the tournament. Either one that underachieves or one that somehow does well. And they'll take on teams that are going to go to the first 4, Rutgers and Notre Dame. Honestly, if I'm Alabama, you better hope Notre Dame wins. Because Rutgers right now is a pretty hot team. They've beaten some really good teams this year in the Big Ten, especially. So, and I think Auburn might be in this bracket too. They might be, unless they got moved to because from here you're going to go see San Diego, and then you got Greenville, South Carolina at the very bottom. So Rutgers, Notre Dame will play in the first 4 game in Dayton, Ohio. 3 seed will be Texas Tech. I expect Auburn maybe be at least a 2 seed. I don't see them being a 1 in another bracket. So Texas Tech and Montana State, 3 versus 14. Number 7 seed Michigan State. And this might be the bracket Auburn's in right here. And Michigan State will take on the 10-seeded Davidson. Wow, and they got beat in their conference championship game. So let's see, will Auburn be in this bracket? Will they be the number 2 seed in Greenville, South Carolina in the West? The answer is no. It's actually Duke. That's a shocker. I thought Auburn would be going in this bracket because there have been many projections saying that Auburn will be in Greenville for the West region, but I guess they're going to go either the Midwest or the East. This is the West region bracket, by the way. 15 seed Cal State Fullerton. So Duke and Cal State Fullerton will kick things off on their end. So here's how the West bracket goes in the first round. Number 1 overall seed Gonzaga versus Georgia State. For sure, Gonzaga will dominate, no question about it. Then you got Boise State, Memphis, Connecticut, New Mexico State, Arkansas, Vermont, Alabama versus Rutgers or Notre Dame, Texas Tech, Montana State, Michigan State versus Davidson, and Duke versus Cal State Fullerton. But you gotta be careful if you're making a bracket. You gotta be careful with 5 versus 12. Sometimes I'll go with at least maybe two, maybe one 12 seed beating a 5 seed. Um, if there's a team that I think, as of right now, we'll look at we'll look at the prediction on the brackets later. But once all four of those brackets are filled out, I can give you a prediction on what teams to pick, who I think will win, and and so on. So I mean, like I said, I don't know if you guys can see that bracket. Um, go ahead and zoom in right here just in case, so you guys can see it better. So there you see it on the screen. So right now they're showing all the other teams that haven't been selected yet. So the South region, I believe, is coming up next. We'll keep it right here. But so do I think Auburn will be a 1 seed? I mean, I'm sure people are going to ask me that. I don't think so. I mean, to be honest, we kind of stumbled down the stretch. I think a 2 seed will fit us just fine, but who we're going to play has yet to be determined, obviously. But I mean, you gotta just, and here's what you also got to think about. Sometimes a 15 seed can be lucky enough and beat a 2 seed. Auburn can be that team that's the number 2 seed that can lose to a 15 seed. Who, I don't know who it would be. Okay. To be quite honest, I think this is going to be a very good tournament this year. I mean, last year was pretty good, but it just didn't feel right having all the games played in Indianapolis. There you had some games at who was it? I think some games were played at Butler, some games were played at Indiana, or I don't know, but it didn't feel right having all the games played in one state and one area in Indianapolis, especially. But it feels different now. It's like we're back to normal. Think about it. 2 years ago, we were in the middle of a COVID pandemic. There was no tournament, nothing. In fact, I'm by the way, I am planning on doing a look back at the 2020 Auburn Tennessee basketball game that I went to. You guys saw that video, and I'll be talking over the video and telling you guys my experience in Knoxville. And of course, the reason why I'm doing that is because it was the last major event I've ever been to before the pandemic started. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that in the next few days, because I mean, that was a weird experience, though. I mean, I literally just got back from Knoxville, and like not a few days, not 5 days later, the tournament gets canceled and the whole world gets all screwed up. But I believe that Auburn team could have went to the Final Four that year. We had the team to do so. But COVID had to mess everything up, but this year I feel like it's a lot different. I feel like this team is better than the 2019-20 team. The reason why I haven't said better than the Final Four team for this team is because, well, we have no guards. That's one of the main issues we got right now. We need guard play. All right, here we go. We're getting ready for the next bracket, and number 1 seed in that bracket. I don't know what bracket this is, but I think the Arizona will be a 1 seed. But I have to see what division this is or what bracket it's going to be. So Arizona will be a 1 seed, and I honestly saw that coming. I really think that's a good choice. Oh, this is the South region. Okay. Auburn might be in this bracket. And number 1 Arizona will play the winner of Wright State versus Bryant. Let me put this back up here. My bad. Sorry about that. So Wright State versus Bryant in the first 4. Now the next bracket down, or the next thing down. 8 versus 9. Number 8, Seton Hall out of the Big East. Pretty good team. And they will battle. Let's fix and pull up here in a second. Texas Christian, the TCU Horned Frogs will be a 9 seed. So that, I mean, I could see TCU maybe possibly doing an upset, but I don't know. Houston will be a 5 seed. Of course, teams they got beat by was Alabama. One of the teams they got beat by was Alabama, who will be a 6 seed in the West bracket. And Houston will battle the Conference USA champ UAB Blazers. UAB's pretty good. I really haven't watched a game this year because they're never on TV, but I've been paying attention to like their record and their stats and all. This is a team that could probably pull an upset. If there is a team that could probably beat Houston in the first round, it's going to be UAB. And who knows? Maybe even UAB could beat Illinois or Chattanooga, by the way. Chattanooga's a 13 seed. So, yeah. So, in the first part of the bracket, you got Arizona, Wright State versus Wright State or Bryant, then Seton Hall, TCU, Houston versus UAB, in the Illinois versus Chattanooga. So, like I said, we'll after the bracket unveiling is over with, we'll look at the potential upsets. 6th seed will be Colorado State. This is a team that can make a pretty good run. I believe this team could do a good run and maybe get to at least a Sweet 16, maybe around a 32. But I don't know about Elite 8 or Final Four yet. They'll battle the Michigan Wolverines. 11 seed. What a horrible ending to the year it's been for Michigan. Juwan Howard getting suspended for fighting after a game. I don't know if that man's the right job as head coach, but they're lucky they made the tournament 17-14. Don't be surprised if they lose to Colorado State. And the 3 seed, wow. The 3 seed Tennessee Volunteers. I thought they'd be a 2. So that's huge. Auburn's probably going to be a 2 seed. And Tennessee will battle Longwood, making their first ever NCAA tournament appearance. So congratulations to the Longwood Lancers. Never heard of a Lancer before. But yeah, Longwood versus Tennessee in Indianapolis. 7 seed Ohio State. In the South region. Number 10 seed. This might be or Auburn may not be going to the Greenville. They might be going to Pittsburgh. I don't know. Wait, no, never mind. That wouldn't be right. And then Ohio State will battle Loyola Chicago, a team that made a good run a couple years ago to the Final Four. And now their old coach is over at Oklahoma. 2 seed Villanova. So I figured that would be Villanova going to Pittsburgh, because how the bracket works is that you would have in that one bracket, like let's say the games are being played in Pittsburgh, you'd have Villanova because they're in Philadelphia. It wouldn't be too far of a drive for their fans. You need to have the fan bases or the fan bases close to that major city going to that game. I don't know how that makes sense. Anyway, let's take a look at the South region bracket up close so you guys can see it better. In the South, number 1 seed, Arizona. They will battle the winner of Wright State versus Bryant in the first 4. Number 8, Seton Hall versus number 9, TCU. Number 5, Houston versus UAB. That could be a good potential for an upset. Number 4 seed, Illinois versus 13-seeded Chattanooga. 6-seeded Colorado State versus 11-seeded Michigan. I can see Colorado State winning, honestly. 3-seeded Tennessee battling number 14 Longwood. 7-seed Ohio State battling Loyola Chicago. And then 2-seeded Villanova versus 15-seeded Delaware. So I could see Auburn playing against someone like St. Peter's. That's what the latest bracketology has been saying. Auburn versus St. Peter's, and in that same bracket, it would be Miami versus Marquette. And of course, they'll be played in Greenville. So half of the bracket is filled. We got 2 more brackets to fill out. But yeah, I think Auburn and Miami are going to be in that same bracket together in Greenville, South Carolina, because you need to have the Auburn fan base traveling a good, traveling to a short distance drive. So how are you guys doing this week? How's your weekend been? Mine's been pretty good to start. I've got to get a better computer room or office. This is my bedroom, by the way. So, I barely got any leg room, and my legs are starting to feel numb. Well, not numb, but more like, hmm. Who knows? Um, we might be a 1 seed. I mean, here's why. Because Baylor got beat by Alabama, right? Alabama got swept by Auburn. And we were ranked number 1 in the country. Heck, we beat I don't know. Hold on. What was the score of the Baylor Oklahoma basketball games? I mean, heck, even Oklahoma beat Baylor, and Auburn beat Oklahoma. So, I mean, something's got to give here. I don't think. I mean, I'll be fine with a 2 seed, but I feel like Auburn needs to be a 1 seed. I mean, we don't deserve it, but in my honest opinion, Auburn's got the right, got all the good resume to be a 1 seed, at least in the East. They haven't unveiled the East yet. All they unveiled was the West bracket and the South bracket. We're about fixing to find out here in just a few moments. And we're fixing to get ready to unveil the next bracket. Scroll down here. See what bracket they're going to unveil next. I believe this will be either Midwest or this is going to be the East. One of these two. So here we go. Our next bracket. Kansas will be a 1 seed. I believe this is the East. Wait, hold up. How did they even get a 1 seed? They got beat by somebody lower than them, didn't they? I'll look at their schedule later. But that makes no sense. I mean, I know they won their conference, but come on. So this is the Midwest bracket. So Kansas will be a 1 seed. I believe Auburn might be in this bracket though. Kansas will battle the winner of Texas Southern or Texas A&M CC. Number 8 seed, San Diego State. They will battle the number 9 seeded Creighton Blue Jays. Five-seeded Iowa Hawkeyes, who won the Big Ten in the tournament. There they are, the tournament. So congratulations to Iowa, by the way. Shout out to them. Those guys are actually going to be pretty good. The 12-seeded Richmond Spiders will meet Iowa. So, yeah, Big Ten champions versus the A-10 champs. Fourth seed of Providence. Providence is going to meet the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. So number 4 versus number 13. And Providence will be the closer team because they're the higher seeded team. Number 6, LSU, who got rid of Will Wade. Boy, that is a dumpster fire to be a part of right there, man. And LSU will battle the Iowa State Cyclones. So number 6 versus 11, LSU versus Iowa State. Wisconsin versus number 14 seeded. By the way, this next part of the bracket, I think Auburn will be in this. Because why not? I mean, this is the last thing. This is the last Greenville, South Carolina bracket we're going to see. So Wisconsin will battle the Colgate toothpaste. No, I'm just kidding. The Colgate Raiders. This team could have a potential. So I'm expecting Auburn maybe to be in this bracket. So go ahead and put 250 down the very bottom. Number 7, Southern California, USC Trojans. They'll take on the number 10 seeded. Wait for it to pull up. Miami Hurricanes. Yep, this might be Auburn. This might be them. So more than likely, it'll probably be Auburn versus St. Peter's in Greenville. Is Auburn in this same bracket? The answer is yes. So Auburn stumbled down the stretch to close out the year, but this team, I mean, and this is the problem right here. They have no guards. If we can't get guard play to get going, we'll be in deep trouble against whoever we're playing. I think this is St. Peter's. Oh no, it's Jacksonville State. So Auburn is going to play the Jacksonville State Gamecocks in the first round of the NCAA tournament. So Greenville, South Carolina is going to have a full capacity crowd. Jacksonville State is pretty good, but and they might take advantage of our piss poor guard game. Wow, I expected it to be St. Peter's. So Auburn is going to battle the Jacksonville State Gamecocks first round of the NCAA tournament. How big is that? The state of Alabama stepped it up. You got 4 teams from Alabama in the NCAA tournament. What a turnaround for this state over the past couple of years. Unbelievable, man. Round of applause to the state, man. We're stepping it up. We're turning around. We're no longer just a football state. We're about to become a basketball state. So here's your South bracket. I'll pull it up right here. I mean, not South. This is the Midwest bracket. So number one Kansas will battle the winner of Texas Southern, Texas A&M, Corpus Christi. I think this is Corpus Christi. I don't even know who the CC is. You got 8 seeded San Diego State battling number 9 Creighton. Number 5 Iowa battling number 12 Richmond. Number 4 Providence versus number 13 South Dakota State. 6 seeded LSU will battle the 11 seeded Iowa State Cyclones. 3 seeded Wisconsin versus number 14 Colgate Toothpaste. No, I'm sorry. I'll do it again. Colgate Raiders. 7 seeded Southern Cal versus 10 seed Miami. And finally, 2 seeded Auburn versus 15 seeded Jacksonville State. That I was expecting St. Peter's. I did not expect JSU to play against Auburn. The one thing hold on. The one thing I pray for is that it ain't gonna turn out like the 2015 football game. I just hope this basketball team can cruise, man. All right, I'm gonna take a timeout right here. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I just had to stretch my legs. But wow, I mean, Jacksonville State and Auburn who started off. Swithart Sports says I feel robbed. I don't know about what, man, but yeah, but the bracket, dude. I feel like they should have been a 2 seed. That's ridiculous, though. So shout out to Swithart tuning in. Let's go back to our bracket again. Auburn and JSU. I'm gonna talk more about that game here in just a little bit. But I still cannot believe it. That's the state of Alabama right there, baby. We finally stepped it up in basketball. Number one seed in the West or the East bracket. This will be our final bracket, the Baylor Bears. Oh, and keep this in mind. We have yet to see Texas A&M. I feel like A&M needs to be in this. I mean, they've beaten us. I mean, that loss to A&M better be worth it. So number one Baylor will battle the number 16 seeded Norfolk State Spartans, who a couple years ago, by the way, not too long ago, made a deep run in the tournament all the way to the Final Four. So that's good. Good for them. They made the tournament again. Yeah, I agree. They're probably going to leech off Kentucky. They're probably going to put them at like a 2 seed. 8 seed in North Carolina. I agree, Squidtard. I feel like Tennessee needs to be a 2. That's stupid. North Carolina will battle the Marquette. Golden Flash. I think that's what I don't even know what they're called, man. Marquette Eagles, I think. So North Carolina versus Marquette. St. Mary's will be a 5 seed. It's like Christmas Day. You're watching see what teams are going where. So St. Mary's will battle the winner of the Wyoming Indiana game. Keep this in mind. We have yet to see Texas A&M. They're not a 10 seed or a elite or maybe a 6 seed. They're probably gonna be out. So it'll be St. Mary's versus the winner of Wyoming and Indiana in the first 4 game. So who's next? Number 4 UCLA. I'm telling you, if A&M is not a 10 seed or or a or a 11 seed, they're not going to make the tournament. I feel like they need to make the tournament. They've beaten Auburn. They've beaten Arkansas. What else do you need? NCAA. Number 6 Texas versus number 11. What's it going to be? Virginia Tech, winner of the ACC. What? Hold up. Virginia Tech? They need to be a higher seed. They won the ACC and they beat Duke. Come on, bro. That's ridiculous. 3 seeded Purdue. Guys, I don't even think Texas A&M is going to make it. I think they needed to win I think they needed to win the SEC. They needed to. Today was their last chance, and then they got beat by Tennessee. So Yale, Purdue will battle Yale. That's a 14 seed, or Yale will be a 14 seed. They have 4 spots left. Who is going to be in one of those last 4 spots? I feel like we're fixing to see number 7, number 10. Number 7 seed in Murray State, the Racers, who, by the way, I think they played Auburn this year. We played Murray State every single year since Bruce got hired. So who will be a number 10 seed? Who will battle the Murray State Riders, the Racers? Yep, San Francisco. Yeah, Texas A&M will not make the NCAA tournament. And Murray State will battle San Francisco, the Dons. So I don't understand how A&M cannot make the tournament, yet you've got teams like Virginia Tech. Well, I mean, I understand Virginia Tech won in the ACC. I understand. But how do you have Michigan be one of the worst teams in the tournament somehow making it in? And number 2, Kentucky will be in the final spot. And who will battle the Wildcats? Who will be that last team in? Yeah, St. Peter's. So here's what I don't understand. How do you not have Texas A&M, a team that played in the SEC championship game, a team that beat Arkansas, that beat Auburn, that played Tennessee, go to the SEC championship game and not win and not go to the tournament? How? And you got Michigan, a 11 seed, going to the tournament, 17 and 14. This is why I have a problem with NCAA these days. They don't know what they're doing. This is why college football playoff is so much better, in my opinion, because you got teams that have better records. Why you got Michigan as a 17-14 team going into the NCAA tournament? You don't have Texas A&M. Yeah, ACC champ at 11, Twitar. That's I don't know what to think of it. I feel like they should have been higher, and that's another problem. They have. Oh, here, let me look at this. So Dayton didn't make it. Neither did Oklahoma. Neither did SMU, and neither did Texas. So A&M will be, I think, a 4 seed in the NIT, which is kind of stupid. I feel like they should have made the tournament. So anyway, here's the bracket for the East. Zoom in a little bit, so you guys can see. Baylor will battle Norfolk State. North Carolina will play Marquette. St. Mary's will play the winner of Wyoming and Indiana. The last four in for Indiana, Notre Dame, Rutgers, and Wyoming. Then the first four out are Dayton, Oklahoma, SMU, and Texas A&M. I still don't understand. I'm going to say it. That 8-loss kid's kind of screwed up Texas A&M's chance of making it. So, and yet they beat Alabama. Let me also say that. How do they not make the tournament? Number 4 UCLA, number 13 Akron, number 6 Texas, number 11 Virginia Tech, your ACC champ. Number 3 Purdue versus 14 Yale, 7 seeded Murray State versus San Francisco, and 2 seeded Kentucky versus St. Peter. So I'll go over the bracket one more time, and then we'll make our prediction. In the West, Gonzaga, Georgia State, Boise State, Memphis, Connecticut, New Mexico State, Arkansas, Vermont, Alabama, and the winner of Rutgers, Notre Dame, Texas Tech versus Montana State, Michigan State versus Davidson, Duke versus Cal State Fullerton. In the South bracket, Arizona will play the winner of Wright State Bryant, number 8 Seton Hall versus TCU, Houston versus UAB, Illinois versus Chattanooga, Colorado State versus Michigan, Tennessee versus Longwood, Ohio State versus Loyola Chicago, 2 Villanova versus 15 Delaware. Let's go down to the Midwest. Kansas will battle 1 seed. Kansas will battle Texas Southern versus Texas A&M CC. San Diego State will play Creighton. Iowa versus Richmond. Providence versus South Dakota State. LSU versus Iowa State. Wisconsin versus Colgate. USC versus Miami. And Auburn versus Jacksonville State. And finally, in the I'll say it one more time, in the East bracket. It's the East. Baylor will battle Norfolk State. North Carolina will battle Marquette. St. Mary's versus Wyoming or Indiana. UCLA versus Akron. Texas versus Virginia Tech. Purdue versus Yale. Murray State versus San Francisco. And finally, Kentucky versus St. Peter's. So let's go over some potential upsets and who I think might go far. Gonzaga for sure might go far. But here, I'll go back to what I was saying earlier. Keep in mind you gotta remember, 12 seeds, most of the time they'll be the 5 seed. It's not really a rarity, it's more of a common type of situation. Yeah, I agree. A&M got totally hosed. It's hard. I can see maybe New Mexico State maybe beating UConn, but I think UConn's got a better team. I can see maybe UConn winning. I'm gonna go with UConn. What upset do I see in that bracket? I mean, I could have said New Mexico State, UConn. I'm probably gonna say, I mean, I can see if Rutgers beats Notre Dame, I could probably see Rutgers beating Alabama because what have we learned this year about Alabama basketball? We don't know what kind of Alabama we're going to go see. Are we going to see a team that loves to shoot threes, or are we going to see a team that shoots too many three attempts and misses most of them, and they would somehow choke in like a 15-point lead? I mean, that could be a problem. That's why I see maybe Rutgers beating Alabama or Notre Dame beating Alabama. But yeah, that's that bracket. Let's go over here to this bracket. On the very right, top right. The one game I'm paying attention to is Houston and UAB. I can see maybe I'm going to go with UAB over Houston because Houston, I don't even know who they got on their team. I don't know if they're the same guys from last year or whatever, but UAB's got a really good team. Don't underestimate UAB. You remember they beat Iowa State a couple years ago, and I picked them to win their game against Iowa State, and they won. So I'll go with UAB. I really can see UAB beating Houston, and maybe Chattanooga beating Illinois because right now Illinois is an underachieving. They got beat in the Big Ten tournament. I feel like they should have won their conference tournament. So, by the way, Auburn will be is a number two. Auburn's number two seed in the Midwest region, and the regional final will take place in Chicago. So, for Tennessee, their regional final will take place in San Antonio. San Antonio. Um, Gosh, Arkansas, if they go to the regional final, they got to go to all the way to darn San Francisco. Michigan, Colorado. I'm going to say Colorado State beats Michigan. I mean, that team has underachieved down the stretch. I don't see how this team get in before Texas A&M did. I'm going with Colorado State. It's kind of like a couple years ago when Oklahoma State got hosed, because even though they beat Kansas twice and they got left out of the tournament, and Oklahoma got in as like a like a like a 16 and 15 team. I can't remember. They had that best player on the team. I forgot his name. He plays for the Hawks now. That's why they made the tournament, because you need to have those star players in the tournament. That's another problem with UAB today. They rig games and they like to choose, oh, we need this NBA prospect to go to the tournament. It's ridiculous. I can see Tennessee going far if they keep playing like they've done this year down the stretch. I feel like Tennessee could go far. Uh, I don't know about beating Arizona though. I think Arizona goes to the Final Four this year. That team is loaded with talent, and I think I'll go ahead and say it right now. If not Auburn, because I'm gonna be unbiased here, I believe Arizona can win the national championship. I mean, yeah, Auburn could, but but I have to go unbiased right here. I'm gonna say Arizona because the Wildcats look really very good this year. Let's go down to the Midwest bracket, see what team I can see coming out of there. I can see Iowa State, maybe. No, nah. I'm gonna say LSU beats Iowa State, but they'll get beat by either. I think they'll get beat if Wisconsin beats Colgate. I think LSU will get beat by Wisconsin. Um, Iowa Richmond. See, I'm paying more attention to the 12 and 5 seed games because 12 seeds most of the time to be a 5 seed. So I'm going with, but I gotta go with a higher team right now. I gotta go with Iowa. Um, yeah. So I'm gonna go with Iowa over Richmond. I'm gonna say South Dakota State over Providence. Reasons why? Because it's due time for a 13 seed to be a 4 seed, unless it happened last year. Um, I could see Southern Cal beating Miami, and then Auburn, barring any mistakes they make on the guard game. I feel like they'll need. I think they'll take care of Jacksonville State. I haven't really watched any JSU basketball games this year, obviously because they're never on TV. Dang, Dayton even beat Kansas and Virginia Tech, and they still didn't make the tournament. That's that. Um, I could see Auburn maybe going to Sweet 16, maybe maybe an Elite Eight. It just depends on what teams they're going to meet in the tournament. I could see Auburn and Kansas maybe meeting in the Elite Eight, or maybe Wisconsin. So there's your Midwest bracket. Um, hold on. First four coverage will be on True TV. That's the teams that have a splash on the bracket if you can barely see it. And then, of course, Thursday through Sunday will be, CBS, TBS, TNT, and True TV. All the other Turner Sports channels. Dang, Final Four takes place on the same night of WrestleMania. I'm not to use two screens, baby. Two screen night. Um, so let's go to our final part of the bracket. Number one, Baylor. I can see Baylor maybe going far. I can see them getting beat by, let's say, some team like St. Mary. or some team like UCLA or somebody like I wouldn't say North Carolina. Either St. Mary's or UCLA, I can see them beating Baylor. Um, I could probably see Yale beating Purdue. Depends on what's their best matchup. Kentucky, I can see going. I forgot. I think if Kentucky and Baylor meet, I feel like, oh man, I feel like Kentucky can beat Baylor. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Kentucky or Tennessee meet in the national championship because they played a lot this year. Or not break the tie, but let's tie it up. If you're a Kentucky fan, the series. I can see Texas maybe going far, but then they'll get beat. Not going far, but I can see them getting beat by Purdue. So out of all these teams, which team do I think will go furthest as an underdog? I can see Davidson beating Michigan State. To be quite honest, Michigan State has honestly, to me, has underachieved this year. Um, Duke, I can see going far, but they're not getting by Gonzaga. I don't think so because they met earlier this season, and Gonzaga. I think I don't even know. I don't know. I don't even know who won that matchup. So out of these teams, what is my final four pick? I'm gonna say Gonzaga goes to the final four. Arizona, and then out of the Midwest, I'm going with Wisconsin. I feel like Wisconsin can go to the Final Four. I feel like they got a team that can do so. They're getting hot at the right time. I feel like maybe, heck, maybe Auburn. I don't know. It just depends on if they meet Kansas and they beat Kansas because their 3-point shooting for Auburn at least has gone off the rails. It's been terrible down the stretch. Kansas, I mean, they've underachieved. They've played down into the competition of other Big 12 teams over the past few weeks. I can see Kansas going to the Final Four because Auburn does not have any guards, and Walker Kessler is too scared, in my opinion, to go up and to go to the freaking goal. So Gonzaga, Arizona, Kansas. I know these are all one seed. I'm gonna say Gonzaga, Arizona. Scratch. I think I'm gonna say Gonzaga, Arizona, Auburn, and then uh, Kentucky. So Gonzaga, Arizona. Hold on. Let me look at one more time. I'm gonna say now Gonzaga. Uh, okay, Gonzaga, Tennessee, Auburn, and Kentucky are all gonna go to the Final Four because those are. I mean, three of those teams are hot right now, especially Tennessee. Good lord, man! I'm scared. I would be scared to play Tennessee again. So, yeah, my Final Four selections: Gonzaga, Tennessee, Auburn, and Kentucky. That's my Final Four selections. Let me look at the comment section. Yeah, I agree, Squid. Michigan being in over A&M is insane. No, let me rephrase that. It's insanely stupid. Um, like how? Let me rephrase that. How do you have 17 and 14 Michigan, who really stumbled coming down the stretch, go into the tournament over Texas A&M, who finished 23 and 12, played in their conference championship game? Let's see, Gonzaga. If what did that say? It says something about Gonzaga. Hold on. Okay, if Gonzaga wins the national championship, it will be the first AP number one in the final poll and before the tournament to win a national championship since Kentucky in 2012. They might. I mean, they could have a team to win a national championship, but let's be honest, they haven't played anybody. If there's a team that I think they can beat Gonzaga, I think that one team could be Duke. I really do think so. This is going to be the most unbalanced tournament I think I've seen. Or probably no, I'm sorry, the most balanced out. Let me rephrase that: the most balanced out tournament I've ever seen. because you've got teams that are very good and some teams that are lower seeded but can make a good run, somehow getting into the national championship, maybe even the Final Four. So, yeah, I will if I'm not doing anything on Friday. I think that's when Auburn plays. If I don't have anything going on Friday, yeah, Friday, I will probably do a live stream reaction of the Auburn Jacksonville State game. I just gotta find out what time that's gonna be. So make sure y'all stay tuned for more in the future. Um, yeah, that's gonna do it for the unveiling of the bracket. I want to thank you guys for watching, and as always, make sure you stay tuned for more. And as always, War Eagle, and let's go beat them Gamecocks.